In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on January 22nd, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Charlotte Hornets versus Orlando Magic. The Charlotte Hornets head to the Kia Center on Thursday to take on the Orlando Magic in NBA action. It is one of those schedule spots where recent form, travel, and rest all quietly tug on the matchup at the same time. Charlotte comes in off a quirky little stretch. They beat the Nuggets, took a loss to the Cavs, and now they get the Wizards next on deck. Over their last 10 games, the Hornets have basically been trading blows with the league, splitting that run at 5 wins and 5 losses. It is not spectacular, but it is not a collapse either, and that kind of middle lane can create value when the market tilts too hard toward the other side. Orlando, on the other hand, has had a more positive rhythm lately. They beat the Pelicans, split a pair with the Grizzlies, and the Cavs are waiting for them after this one. The Magic have taken 22 of their last 37 games, which is a solid stretch and exactly the sort of thing that can inflate a home favorite price a bit. Sometimes you see that and think, sure, they are winning, but are they covering the number the same way fans talk about them? The injury picture is pretty straightforward. The Hornets are still without KJ Simpson and Mason Plumlee, so nothing new there for their rotation. The Magic are keeping an eye on Jalen Suggs, who is listed as questionable, and that kind of tag can slightly change ball handling and perimeter defense if he sits. These teams have already played twice this season, and the funny twist is that both matchups were won by the road team. So there is no real comfort blanket here for the home side, at least not based on the head-to-head so far. Scheduling is a big part of the story. Charlotte is on the second leg of a back-to-back, which always raises the usual questions about legs, energy, and late-game execution. Orlando, by contrast, has not played since Sunday, so they should come in rested, maybe even a little too rested if Russ shows up early. That rest edge is real, but it does not automatically mean the spread is fair. The Magic should be favored at home with that rest advantage and their recent run of wins. However, when you look at how they have performed against the spread in their last 10, it paints a different picture. They are just 3-7 in that span. On the season, they sit at 17-25 against the spread, which suggests the market has often been a bit too generous toward them. That is the kind of pattern that can hang around for a while, especially when a team is getting hyped for winning straight up more than they are rewarding bettors. Charlotte, even with the back-to-back concern, has been scrappy in these numbers. They are 25-19 against the spread this season, so they have been more reliable for anyone taking the points. They also went into this matchup a month ago and beat the Magic as 5.5-point underdogs. So it is fair to say the line respect is leaning heavily toward Orlando here, maybe a little too heavily. This current number feels like it is showing extra love to the Magic rather than reflecting the gap between these two teams on a typical night. As our first pick for this matchup, the Charlotte Hornets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Hornets are averaging 115.8 points per game on 45.9% shooting from the field while allowing 115.9 points on 47.8% shooting. So they basically give up as much as they score, and that balance often nudges games toward competitive, higher scoring results when both sides can find a rhythm. From beyond the arc, Charlotte is hitting 36.6% of their threes, which is a healthy clip. At the free throw line, they are knocking down 81.2%, which can quietly push totals higher because trips to the stripe do not rely on hot shooting streaks, just solid form and concentration. Defensively, they allow opponents to shoot 36.9% from deep, and they are pulling in 45.5 rebounds per game, so there are plenty of possessions and second chances floating around in their contests. More possessions, more shots, more chances for the scoreboard to keep moving. On the Magic side, the offensive and defensive numbers line up in a very similar way. They are averaging 116.1 points per game on 46.6% shooting and allowing 115.2 points on 47.7% shooting. So yet again, we have a team scoring and allowing almost the same amount, with neither side playing lockdown defense to consistently drag games into low-scoring rock fights. From three-point range, Orlando is at 33.9%, which is a bit lower than Charlotte but still leaves room for a normal shooting night to bump totals up, especially if they get clean looks. They are at 79.1% from the free throw line, which is steady enough that fouls late in quarters or in close game situations can add easy points. They are allowing opponents to shoot 36% from deep and grabbing 44.8 rebounds per game. Again, you have two teams where the numbers point toward steady scoring, a decent pace, and enough rebounding that misses do not kill the flow of the game. When you put all of that together, you get a matchup where both offenses are capable of getting into the mid-1 teens, both defenses are a bit too generous, and neither side consistently slows the game down into a grind. Fatigue for Charlotte might hurt their defense more than their offense, while rest for Orlando can help their legs on both ends, but especially when pushing the ball in transition. It all adds up to a spot where a healthy scoring total is more likely than a low-scoring slog. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Denver Nuggets versus Washington Wizards. The Denver Nuggets head to Capital One Arena on Thursday night to square off with the Washington Wizards in what feels like a strange mix of momentum and injuries on both sides. It looks simple at first glance, but it really is not, especially once you look at who is actually available. Denver comes into this one off back-to-back losses, falling to the Hornets and then the Lakers. They get the Bucks next, so this game sits right in the middle of a pretty tricky stretch. Even with those recent losses, the Nuggets have still won 6 of their last 9 games, so their broader form is more stable than that small skid suggests. People talk about momentum a lot, but over a 9-game window, winning twice as often as you lose still says quite a bit. Washington is coming from a very different place emotionally. They dropped games to the Clippers and these same Nuggets, and they have the Hornets waiting for them after this matchup. The Wizards have lost 36 of their last 48 games, which is a rough run by any standard and wears on a team, on fans, and honestly on anyone who checks the standings every morning. 7 straight losses on top of that bigger picture only make the hill look a little steeper. The injury report reads like a reminder that this is a long season. The Nuggets have ruled out Nikola Jokic, Cameron Johnson, and Christian Braun, with Jonas Valanciunas listed as questionable for this one. So you are looking at a version of Denver that has to lean on role players and secondary creators much more than usual. On the other side, the Wizards have ruled out Trae Young, while Chris Middleton, Marvin Bagley III, and Bilal Coulibaly are all listed as questionable. Both rotations are patched together, which can sometimes create chaos, but it can also expose how fragile a struggling team really is. Before that loss to the Lakers, Denver had been playing some very strong basketball, comfortably handling business more often than not. They will feel like this is a good get-right spot against a Wizards squad that has been ice-cold and has not found much to feel good about lately. Washington has dropped 7 in a row, and there has not been a lot in those games to suggest a big corner is being turned, even if individual nights look competitive for stretches. So on the surface, you have a road favorite that still believes in its identity facing a home team that looks stuck in a loop. These are 2 banged-up teams, and usually you would give at least a little automatic credit to the home side in that situation. However, the Wizards have not been kind to anyone backing them this season, sitting at 17-25 against the spread. The Nuggets, for their part, have managed to navigate injuries and schedule spots better, going 26-18 against the spread. They have also played some of their best basketball on the road, with 17 of their 29 wins coming away from home, which is not a small thing. If you are thinking about taking Washington, you almost feel like you would need more points just to talk yourself into it. So the context around this number leans a certain way, even before you talk yourself in circles about all the missing names. As our first pick for this matchup, the Denver Nuggets to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Nuggets are averaging 121.4 points on 49.9% shooting from the field while allowing 117 points on 47.2% shooting. That is a profile where the offense is efficient and aggressive, and the defense bends often enough that games rarely feel slow or low scoring. From beyond the arc, Denver is shooting 39.8%, which is a very strong clip that can flip a total in a hurry when the looks are clean. They are also hitting 81.5% at the free throw line, which keeps scoring steady even when the jumpers cool off for a stretch. They allow opponents to shoot 35.3% from deep and are grabbing 42.2 rebounds per game, numbers that suggest a normal pace with enough possessions for both teams to make runs. The Wizards bring a different kind of scoring balance, but it still leans toward high totals. They are averaging 112.6 points on 46.1% shooting and allowing a massive 123.6 points on 47.6% shooting. So they score fairly well, but they give up even more, which is often exactly what overbettors quietly hope to see. From three-point range, Washington is shooting 36.5%, which is respectable and can look even better if Denver's defense is a bit disjointed without its usual anchor. They are connecting on 76.8% of their free throws, which is serviceable enough that trips to the line do not wreck the offensive flow. The Wizards allow 36.3% shooting from deep and are pulling down 44 rebounds per game, so there should be plenty of possessions, second chances, and runouts either way. When you blend these numbers together, you get one team that scores efficiently and another that struggles badly on defense, with both sides playing in games that often loosen up as they go. Even with injuries, the styles and habits that created these averages do not just vanish overnight. You can easily imagine stretches where defensive focus dips, benches are on the floor, and the scoring piles up almost by accident. So the setup leans toward a matchup where points come in steady waves rather than in short bursts. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Rockets versus Philadelphia 76ers. The Houston Rockets head into Xfinity Mobile Arena on Thursday night to face the Philadelphia 76ers in what shapes up as a pretty interesting spot on the schedule for both sides. On paper, it looks like a standard non-conference game, but there is a bit more going on once you check form and context. Houston arrives in a good mood. They just beat the Spurs and the Pelicans, and they have the Pistons coming up next. The Rockets have taken 4 of their last 5 games, so confidence in that locker room should be fairly high right now. It has been a solid little stretch, the kind of week where players start talking about finding a rhythm, a bit more. Philadelphia comes in with a more modest but still respectable recent run. They lost to the Suns, bounced back with a win over the Pacers, and the Knicks are waiting for them after this one. The 76ers have won 7 of their last 12 games, which is not perfect, but it does show they have been more often on the right side of results than not. That sort of record usually keeps internal pressure under control, even if the fan base still nitpicks every close finish. The injury situation gives this matchup a slightly strange feel. The Rockets remain without Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet, while Aaron Holiday is listed as questionable, so their rotation is not at full strength, especially in terms of playmaking and interior presence. On the other side, the 76ers are monitoring Paul George, who is questionable with left knee injury management, which has become a familiar phrase in modern box scores. Even with that tag, the note is that the 76ers are about as healthy overall as they have been all season, which matters over 4 quarters. The Rockets step into this contest with plenty of momentum. They just handled a good Spurs team without needing a big night from Durant, which quietly says something about their depth and balance when things are clicking. People love to talk about ceiling with this group, and it is fair to say Houston has the higher ceiling in a vacuum. If they hit that level for a full game, they should feel like they can win anywhere. They have also strung together 3 straight wins, which always looks nice on a schedule page. However, there is a catch. The Rockets have not won a road game in 21 days. That little detail lingers in the background when you think about backing them as a visitor. On top of that, they are just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, so even when the scoreboard looks decent, the number at the window has not always cooperated. By contrast, the 76ers have quietly been one of the more profitable teams against the spread this season. They carry a record of 24-17-1 against the spread, which is the sort of mark that makes bettors pay attention. They are also in a rare stretch of relative health, which helps keep rotations stable and rolls clear. There is a small warning sign, though. They are 0-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 5 home games as an underdog, which tells you this spot has tripped them up before. So you get a mix of trust and caution baked into the number. All that said, when you balance recent form, road issues for Houston, and overall against the spread records, the value tilts toward the home side with the points. It is not that the Rockets cannot win, it is that their price has a bit of respect baked in while Philadelphia still feels slightly undervalued as a dog. As our first pick for this matchup, the Philadelphia 76ers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Rockets are averaging 117 points per game on 47.9% shooting from the field while allowing 110.6 points on 46.1% shooting. That combination shows an offense that is efficient enough, paired with a defense that holds up reasonably well most nights. It is not a pure track meet look, even if the headline number on offense is impressive. From beyond the arc, Houston is hitting 37% of their three-point attempts. That is a strong enough clip that open looks can swing a quarter, but it also means defenses cannot just pack the paint and walk away. At the free throw line, they sit at 75.9%, which is serviceable but not exactly automatic. They allow opponents to shoot 35.4% from deep and pull down 49 rebounds per game, a big number on the glass that can limit second chance scoring for the other side. A strong rebounding team often drags totals down a bit, simply because you do not see as many extended possessions built off offensive boards. On the Philadelphia side, the numbers land in a slightly different zone. The 76ers are averaging 116.6 points per game on 45.4% shooting while allowing 115.4 points on 46.5% shooting. So their games often stay competitive on the scoreboard, but the shooting percentages themselves are more middle of the pack. From three-point range, they are hitting 35.5%. That is fine, but not scorching, so you are not counting on a barrage of long-range makes every night. They are very strong at the free throw line at 81.5%, which is a real asset in a tight game but does not automatically turn every contest into a fireworks show. On defense, they hold opponents to 34.5% from deep and collect 44.2 rebounds per game. That kind of three-point defense matters, especially against a Rockets team that likes to shoot it confidently from outside. When you put both sides together, the picture looks more like a game that could settle into a controlled pace rather than a wild scoring race. Houston's rebounding and fairly solid defense, plus Philadelphia's ability to contest the three-point line, suggests there might be stretches where buckets are harder to come by. Even if both teams have the offensive talent to get hot for a few minutes, the overall numbers lean toward a slightly tighter total outcome. So while it is tempting to look at those scoring averages and expect a shootout, the underlying efficiency splits and defensive strengths hint at a result that lands a bit lower on the scale. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Golden State Warriors versus Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks welcome the Golden State Warriors to the American Airlines Center on Thursday night, and it is one of those games where the injury report might matter as much as recent form. Golden State comes in off a little mixed stretch. They beat the Heat, then fell to the Raptors, and after this one they have the Timberwolves on deck. Even with that small wobble, the Warriors have still taken 12 of their last 17 games, so they are playing more winning basketball than losing right now, which can quietly shape how the market treats them. Dallas is trending in a positive direction too. They picked up wins over the Jazz and the Knicks, and now they look ahead to a matchup with the Lakers after this. The Mavs have won 4 of their last 5 games, which fits the classic quietly hot label because it has not come with a ton of noise, but it definitely shows up in the standings. In terms of injuries, the Warriors are still without Seth Curry and Jimmy Butler III, and Gary Payton II is listed as questionable. The Mavericks are dealing with their own issues, missing Derek Lively II, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis, with Daniel Gafford questionable as well. So both teams are patched together, but Golden State is still in better shape overall compared to a Dallas team missing several key pieces from its core. The Warriors were on a strong run before Butler III went down with that season-ending injury. Even so, they remain relatively stable compared to the Mavs, who are trying to navigate big absences while still asking a lot from their main healthy stars. When you stack those situations side by side, it makes sense that the first instinct would be to lean toward the more intact rotation. These teams last met on December 26th, and that night it was Golden State that walked away with a 126-116 win. That result gives the Warriors a bit of confidence that their style still translates well in this matchup, especially if the Mavericks are not at full strength. Oddsmakers are going to lean toward Golden State here because of how the Dallas injury report looks. However, there is a twist. The Mavericks have quietly taken 4 of their last 5 games despite their issues. They have not folded, especially at home, and that resilience matters when you are catching points. The Warriors have also had problems away from home all season. 13 of their 20 losses have come on the road, and that kind of pattern is not a fluke anymore. It is a real concern. They simply have not carried the same sharpness into opposing arenas, and that can show up late in games when legs are tired and decision-making gets tested. Offensively, Golden State has been more fragile than people are used to seeing. They are already a shaky offensive group compared to their glory days, and now they are missing their second leading scorer in Jimmy, which puts even more pressure on their remaining creators and shooters. When they played the Raptors without him, even with the schedule excuse of being on the second night of a back-to-back, the effort and production were both poor. If that game was any kind of preview of how this group looks without that extra scoring punch, it is fair to say things could get pretty rough for stretches. Dallas, on the other hand, has leaned into its home court. 13 of their 18 wins have come in their own building, which tells you they are much more comfortable and confident there. Since December 3rd, the Mavericks are 5-1 straight up and against the spread as a home underdog, which is exactly the kind of trend that suggests the market keeps underestimating them in this role. So while the Warriors might be favored on paper because of who is missing for Dallas, the deeper context makes the points with the home team far more appealing. You get a strong home record, a quietly good recent run, and an opponent that has not traveled well and now has a weakened defense. As our first pick for this matchup, the Dallas Mavericks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. This matchup sets up in a way that makes uneven scoring feel more likely than a smooth, free-flowing shootout. Totals usually do not come up short because nobody scores at all. They come up short because one team keeps stalling out. In this case, that vulnerable side is most likely Dallas. When a team does not have consistent advantage creation on offense, possessions stop feeling natural. Instead of a steady rhythm, you get more forced shots late in the clock, more isolation attempts that go nowhere, and longer cold spells that stack up before you even realize it. The Mavericks might still find a hot 5-minute burst where everything falls, but for the total, it is those empty stretches that really matter, and Dallas has shown itself more prone to those dry spells overall, especially when key scorers are out. Golden State brings another reason to lean toward a lower scoring outcome. Their scoring profile is naturally volatile. The Warriors are going to take three-pointers in heavy volume, that is who they are, but clearing a total in the mid-200s and 30s needs more than just attempts. It requires them to hit at a strong clip, particularly if Dallas does not fully hold up its end on offense. If Golden State has even a slightly off night from outside, the over starts to wobble immediately. When your scoring is so tightly tied to jump shooting, even a modest dip in accuracy can turn a game into a slog on the scoreboard. You can easily imagine a night where the looks are there but the shots rim out just often enough to keep the final score lower than people expected. Backing the under here basically means you are fading the idea that both teams deliver sharp, efficient offense for all 4 quarters. Between the Mavericks' likely droughts and the Warriors' three-point volatility, it is the over that carries more risk in this particular script. A lower total outcome fits more comfortably with how these offenses are likely to actually behave given the injuries and styles. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.